go in at the front and there's a back door. So all the rubbish that was in a dustbin was collected at the back, never at the front. So when I was a little girl, this house here used to have at the front door a step, which was quite a big step, then 2 smaller steps underneath, and then a flat flag that left this house. There were 2 big laurel trees at each side, and the door was in the middle. So then, before the war, the Second World War, they came and they tar-macadam'd the road, which every year or second year they would tar-macadam again, until they got to a certain level when they couldn't have got through the bridge with the height on. So then it stopped. But from going down all these steps from the door, you'll remember going down the steps, do you not? Going down the steps from the door to the road was about as where that tree is, if not longer.
But didn't they have a cart and horse that came along here?
The cart and the horse came along at the bottom of this, where the garden is.
Along the very canal
So
bank.
if you go down to the bottom now, if you go down to the bottom, down the next steps, Gareth,
Yes.
and look along by the canal, the horses used to come and empty the bins down here.
So it's like a second road along
And
there.
then, that's right, not very big, but they used to be. So now, the dustbins are now here. Mine is on the side there, and so is next door and next door. But all the others, the dustbins should be at the back,
Yeah.
but they have to keep them on the front.
Yes.
So they're collected from the front now. So this is why all the cottages here have dustbins on the front. And of course, where Grandad lived, and Grandma Phyllis, the dustbins were emptied up the clough side.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that was cut off with the bypass, so that couldn't happen. So the dustbins then, in those cottages, were all put at the front.
But that building, what did it have in that building?
That building was there, on here, and that was where, when they'd come down, the mines were everywhere,
Yeah.
Gareth. And there was a mine up where Grandad's ranch was.
Yeah.
There was Ringstones, which was an open cast coal mine up there, which was with rough shale. It wasn't
Wasn't good quality.
It was not good quality. And so that would come down. And years ago, when I was a little girl, there were these great big arches,
Yeah.
which were stone, that you probably have seen.
There's
Martin
some
would have seen
remains,
them.
aren't there?
And they came down from Ringstones right down to
That's
the
still
canal.
the reservoirs.
So
right.
came here, at the other end of Bridgemont,
Okay.
where the barges would be then put in a position in Bucksworth, where they stayed and took stones from the mines up here, the quarries. But then all this stuff would be put in a barge down by that first house in the village where the Mellors lived, and would be taken down here. And when it came to this point here, it was an office where they had to book in when they were going farther down into Manchester.
So it wasn't part of this property, it was a separate little office.
Nothing to do with this. And then all these things were, this didn't belong, I didn't have any garden at the bottom. Then when Harold was here, he said that the people in all these houses, because they were having to have the rubbish at the front, were throwing their rubbish over the wall. And he said, I'm not having that. So he went on to look at the sort of maps of the area. And the people who owned this land, where this house is now, are called the Jodrell Trust Estate, and they own a lot of land in London, which came from the church. But I have to pay ground rent for all this area. So Harold wrote and said, I want to buy the land that's at the back of this house where the masses were, and they were chucking all their rubbish over. And Arnold Burke, who lived here, was chucking his rubbish over, and everybody else was. But Arnold Burke, they wouldn't sell Arnold Burke's, I don't know why. So then Harold bought all the land here that's at the bottom. If you go down my garden, at the bottom I have a garden, don't I, Margaret? Which Harold then did himself and had it put on the deeds of the house.
Right.
That this is now mine. So nobody can take that. What happens when I die, I shan't care about. But that's what'll happen. That's it.
Right.
Legally yours.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So-
yeah. I just assumed all the properties own the land right down to the canal. But
No. But when Harold did that, then 2 houses, Auntie Molly's over here, about 7 or 8 houses, and Auntie Molly's, they bought theirs, and the house next door bought theirs as well. So they own theirs. But John and Anne next door don't own theirs.
oh, so that belongs to this estate place.
That
still.
belongs to the estate. But because he's a solicitor, or was, and he said, if you've been on it and put something on it for 7 years, it's yours.
Oh.
Now, I don't know about that. But when their son, who is in the SAS now, was younger, he had a canoe, and they always put it down there. They left it there, but they don't garden it. It's just left fallow, and the ducks use it as a nesting place, and the squirrels